Hi there, I'm Nancy Nash with Starfish Strength, and today I want to share a recipe with you for a healthier version of shepherd's pie that's sure to please the fall flavor fanatics in your life. I grew up in a household where we made shepherd's pie all the time, and while this recipe is quite different from the shepherd's pie I grew up with, it's very nostalgic for me. And if you're a person that really enjoys those Thanksgiving flavors, I think you're really gonna like this recipe. I'm going to start by preheating my oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Next, I want to wash and dry my sweet potatoes, and I want to just make sure that I get any bits of dirt, any little hairs, or any, black spots that are on the sweet potatoes off. Next, I'm going to line a baking sheet with parchment paper, and I'm going to wrap each of my sweet potatoes in a piece of aluminum foil. I'm going to evenly space the sweet potatoes on my tray, and then we're going to roast the sweet potatoes in the oven. Depending on the size of your sweet potato is really going to determine how long this takes. So it could take anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour and 20 minutes. So I would come back at 40 minutes and just poke a couple of the center ones with a fork just to see if they're done. If they're not quite done, keep going until they're all fork tender. You could also kind of rotate some of them in the pan if you feel like the outside ones are cooking a little bit quicker. But you just want to make sure that all of them are evenly done so that they're going to blend beautifully for us. While your sweet potatoes are baking, we're going to cook our meat mixture and make that layer of our shepherd's pie. So I'm going to slice the ends off of a medium sweet onion, peel the outer layer of the skin, and cut it in half. And then I'm going to dice it into approximately 1/4-inch pieces. You could definitely dice this smaller if you prefer. Next, I'm going to combine my spices and herbs. So I'm going to use fresh herbs for this, but you could substitute dry. I'm going to use 2 tablespoons each of fresh rosemary, thyme, and sage. Now the thyme come off, pretty easily from the stem if you just slide your fingers along, but I do like to actually take the sage leaves and the rosemary, give them a little bit of a dice just to break them down a little bit more. I'm going to use 2 teaspoons of celery seed, and then I'm going to use 1 teaspoon of freshly cracked black pepper. So go ahead and set your herbs to the side. I'm going to use a Dutch oven or a large deep skillet to cook my meat. So I'm going to start by spraying it with nonstick spray and then turning the heat on medium high. I'm going to add my onion and then just gently stir it for about 5 minutes till it starts to turn a little translucent, brown on the edges. And then we're going to add our ground meat. So I'm using 2 pounds of 85% lean ground turkey. You could use a leaner meat for this, but I do find that, once you get to a certain point of leanness, it does become a little bit dry. So keep that in mind. And I'm going to be pretty attentive in stirring my meat as it cooks. So I'm just going to gently move it around in the pan with a spatula and just start breaking it down, just like you would if you were making taco meat, just kind of letting the crumbles form. And then after about 5 minutes, I'm going to add my spices and herbs. And I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce so that those flavors start becoming incorporated into this. You can see that the ground turkey is starting to release some liquid and everything is kind of becoming this homogeneous, I think of this as like the Thanksgiving kind of smell. I love this smell. So if you're a big fan of Thanksgiving flavors, you'll probably enjoy the cooking process almost as much as the eating part. All right, so keep stirring your meat until it all is browned evenly. And for me, that took really about a total of 10 minutes. It was pretty quick. Once your meat is thoroughly browned and crumbled into little bits, go ahead and shut off the heat. And then we're gonna actually put the meat into a 9x13 baking dish. So once you've got that spread into an even layer, we're going to add 2 cups of a frozen vegetable. So I'm using frozen corn. because growing up in my family, we always put corn on shepherd's pie. Peas are much more traditional, so I would go with whichever your family enjoys because both are really delicious in this recipe. All right, so let's go ahead and check on our sweet potatoes. If they're not quite done, keep going until they're all fork tender. Once your sweet potatoes are done, go ahead and remove them from the oven and give them about 10 minutes, I would say, before handling them. So first, I'm just going to open up the foil and let the steam release. And then after they've sat for a little bit and the steam has released, I'm going to put them all into a large mixing bowl and remove the skins either with a fork or with my hands. And I'm going to use an electric mixer for this, but you're welcome to just use a potato masher. They do come out pretty smooth either way, but I'm just gonna blend all of the potatoes together. And as you can see, without even adding anything, they're getting nice and fluffy. And last, I'm gonna add about a teaspoon of hot sauce. I'm using Frank's Red Hot, but you could use your favorite hot sauce in this, or if your family's really heat adverse, then you could just leave that out. So once your sweet potatoes are thoroughly whipped, go ahead and ladle your sweet potatoes evenly on top of your frozen corn or peas. And then once it's spread out into a nice smooth layer, we're going to top this with cheddar cheese. So you could use shredded cheese for this. You could use cheese slices, which is what I'm doing today. And I actually found that my grocer sells thin sliced cheddar. So it's a lot easier for me to disperse a small amount of cheese across a large area. You could add more cheese to this if you want. I am, trying to make this healthier. So I'm choosing a sharp cheddar. This is an idea I learned from registered dietitian Ellie Krieger when she used to have a show on Food Network, that rather than substituting, a whole bunch of low-fat cheese, just use a really distinctly flavored cheese and use a little bit, and your palate will really pick up the flavors. And I've definitely found that to be true. And then we're going to bake this in the oven. So I did bake mine for about 25 minutes. Really, everything is already cooked. We just want that corn or the peas, to come up to the temperature of the rest of the casserole. And we want the cheese to melt. I kind of judge this by, is that bottom meat layer bubbling a little bit? Sometimes that happens in certain ovens within 15 minutes because we do have it on 400. I let mine stay in there for 25. So I've got a little bit of that brown cheese on the outside, which most people I know really love. And once you feel satisfied that your casserole is done, go ahead and let it cool for about 10 minutes before serving it. So let's go ahead and give this a taste. So I'm a huge fan of sweet potatoes, and to be honest, pretty much anything squash adjacent. So that's what hit me first was, how creamy and sweet these sweet potatoes are. The sweet potato flavor has just really concentrated as they've roasted in the oven. And if you've never made sweet potatoes like this, I'll actually link at the end of this video to my other sweet potato casserole recipe. It's really easy, and I think this comes out way better than, boiling them and then adding all sorts of other sweeteners. Next, I got hit by just a little bit of sweetness from the corn, and it's a fun texture to have in there. And then you get that, obviously the flavor of the ground turkey, but then all of those herbs that we added to flavor the turkey. I don't taste the Worcestershire by itself, but it definitely adds just, a little hit of umami, which really brings it home. But that combination of sage, thyme, and rosemary to me is just like so nostalgic and something I think about, as far as fall flavors go, kind of as that like quintessential combination. So this recipe does make 10 servings. So that's, plenty if you're a small family like us. You could actually freeze these in portions and then take them out at a later date. So this could be a really good meal prep meal for you as well. This is also one of those recipes that definitely tastes better the second day as those flavors have come together. So don't freeze all of it. Save some for the next day or maybe the day after that. It should keep in your refrigerator for up to 5 days. Thanks so much for making time to cook with me today. I hope you feel set up with a new healthy recipe to help you stay on track with your nutrition. If you're looking for more healthy recipes, workouts, exercises, and other healthy living inspiration, please check out the rest of my YouTube channel. And if you need some one-on-one support putting together your exercise program and nutrition plan, please reach out to me in the link in the description. In the meantime, I look forward to continuing this journey with you, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for being so good. Would you like some shepherd's pie? Okay, come on over. They had to wait patiently outside because this is way too exciting. They love sweet potatoes, and who doesn't love meat, right? Well, what dog doesn't love meat? That's what I really mean. Well done. Well done. Yes, clean plate club. All right, Luna would like her turn now. Luna's straight off some dental work, so soft food is right up your alley right now, huh? Oh my goodness. You're gonna eat the spoon? All right, you lost the meat. Would you like that? Would you like the meat? Oh my goodness, you're shaking it so good. So much better than strawberries. Dog and human approved. Well done, guys, well done.